Okay, so I'm going to do another Zuck kill here, just kind of outlining everything. There were a couple of comments last time that I shouldn't have used the Zuck cape, and that's more than fair, so just to go over everything here, I am using Death Dealer, which is the tier 90 setup. You will notice that there are no perks on my top or my bottom. I have no perks on my tier 90 gear. Whole set is just tier 90. I have the tier 90 offhand with E4R3, which is just a very cheap entry level perk. And I have Precise 6 Genocidal, also very cheap, just entry level perk. These cost no more than a few K. So I've got those on there. I do have an EOF. It has the Death Guard special in it because I'm used to using the tier 95 stuff, but I mean, I'm just wearing it because I need a necklace, and I am wearing a max cape for my cape instead of a Zuck cape. I don't have a kiln cape to swap down to, assuming if you are trying to do Zuck, you likely have a kiln cape and are trying to upgrade it, so your cape will be better than mine, but I'm not doing a kiln at the moment. I'm using a Reaver's Ring. You can swap that out for a Ring of Death if you'd like. That's more than okay. And I'm going to use the Jads book. Just because it's a budget-friendly option, not because it's any better or worse than anything else. And then I have the Nexus. You can get this from killing Vorkath 100 times in normal mode. There's also the basic Nexus that you can get just from doing like, necromancy things. As far as my inventory goes, I have a weapon poison +++ and some Quorum incense sticks to keep my poison damage rolling at the start of the fight. I'm going to use a Blood Reaver. I think that'll be helpful because of the setup. I'm going to fill those spots once I click everything with blue blubbers. I have rune pouches for Disruption Shield and Vengeance and Spellbook Swap, all that fun stuff. The only one of those that I'd say is necessary is having the runes for Disruption Shield. I have some Ceradomin Brews, regular Adrenaline Potion, some Vulnerability Bombs, a bunch of Super Restore Flasks. I've opted for 5 here because I'm not sure how long this kill is going to take, and an Elder Overload Potion. So we'll get to going here and see how this goes. So I've got 30 minutes sticked up, which should be more than enough. We'll throw some blubbers in here, and that should be good to go. So the biggest things to keep in mind about Zuck are that you always want your darkness to be active, this incantation here. It will make you take less damage. The other thing is that we are going to stand in very specific locations to ensure that, I'm just making sure my sounds are off, that way we don't have to deal with talking over things. We're going to stand in very specific spots here just to make sure we take as little damage as possible. So with that said, we're going to just pod up, and here we go. Alright, normal mode, Zuck. So I'm going to conjure everything. You can use your split soul ability if you want. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to extend all my ghosty ghoulies and use the specs for all of them so they can go around and start killing things. My biggest focal point for at least the very first few waves are just building stacks. So you'll notice that I'm trying to use Soul Sap and Touch of Death and keep both of those abilities on cooldown. I'm just standing right in the center of the room. I'm really not worrying about a thing right now. I'm going to throw shards on Zuck in between. If you have shards, that's pretty helpful. For these first couple waves, the only thing I'm prioritizing is any ranger that spawns. I can use my Finger of Death now that I've got some stacks built up, and then I'm going to toss on my melee prey, and I'm going to attack the meleeers. There's really no threat here, it's no big deal. I can even throw a 100% adrenaline skulls here to let it bounce around and kill everything. Not exactly the best ability, but just goes to show you that it doesn't really matter what you do in this fight for the first couple of waves. So like I said, I'm just attacking things. I always try to prioritize these bats as my very first enemy because they are very annoying. Now I'm just kind of stacking up all the melee guys, and I'm going to kill this ranger first, just so I'm not taking off-style damage, so I don't have to pray against it. And now I'm going to use Threads of Fate, and I'm going to volley. That should make sure a lot of them either die or get close to dying. Just like that. My familiars, or my conjures have died, so I'm just re-conjuring them to make sure I've got all of my possible boosts active. That's kind of the biggest goal of this entire fight. Now I'm getting attacked by a ranger, so while I clear this melee, I've just switched to my range prey. Another thing that'll be important during this fight, which I'm going to deal with once I go back up north here, is maintaining my Blood Reaver's HP. He's quite low already, which is not ideal, but that's okay, we're going to deal with it shortly. Alright, first challenge wave. All we have to do is use Soul Strike on each of these enemies, that way we can deal full damage. Other than that, I'm just hanging out and using basic abilities. So again, Soul Strike. Now he's damaged. I'm going to surge over here so there's fewer guys attacking me. Just all about positioning. Last guy down below. Again, I'm throwing a Soul Strike. Oh, I didn't turn my book on. I'll turn the book on for Zuck. Alright, so now I'm just going to head back up north with all my best buds here. I'm going to attack Zuck, and when I'm ready, I'm going to push the extra action button. So I am going to use a Volley of Souls here, or I mean well, I am going to use Volley of Souls, but my skulls, even though it's not great without the upgrade, and I was still able to clear. All I did there was Volley of Souls, Finger, and Skulls. Here I'm going to Threads of Fate, and I'm going to use my Finger of Death, and that's pretty much it. Now I'm just clicking and letting Revo do the rest. Next wave, I'm going to stand up in the northwest corner here. This is where wave positioning starts to become quite important. And you'll notice that the Jad is going to spawn down to the south here. That's why I've chosen this northern corner. So it becomes increasingly important to just pay attention to where you're standing and what combat style is attacking you most. If I have groups of enemies that are close to me, I am trying to prioritize my my Soul Scythe, just to clear them out, maybe gain some stacks. AoE damage is always helpful. You'll notice that since I dropped my Prism once we were up top, my Reaver's nice and healthy again. I had to reconjure all my familiars, and I'm just making sure that everything stays active. I'm going to kill this bat quickly before I deal with the Jad. The Jads are nice and easy these days. All we have to do is pray Mage when he stands up, spend our stacks. When he slams the ground, pray range. We do not want to stand in melee distance, and that is all there is to it. Alright, so for the next several waves, this same northwestern corner is going to be our friend. This is my preferred location for almost everything in this fight from now on. My biggest goal of these fights are to prioritize anything that's attacking me with the combat style that I cannot pray against. So you'll notice there that a mage had spawned with 2 bats. The bats are very inconvenient, so generally speaking you take care of them first. After that I had a major and 2 rangers on me. The rest of this wave is predominantly range based, so all I did was take out the major. That way I can pray range, and between my darkness and my protection prayers I'm taking next to no damage, and just my ghost being active is keeping me at full HP here. So again, I'm really just letting Revo do everything for me here. I'm going to use a Finger of Death on this this big meleeer. Like we said, I'm trying to take care of anything that's attacking me with a different combat style than I'm praying. Sorry, my cat is trying to jump on my keyboard, and I'm just throwing shards at Zuck any chance I get. And then I go back to my safe spot. So we've got 2 mages that are spawned in here at the bottoms, and then the rest of this wave is range. Because we've stood in this northwest corner, this meleeer gets lured very nicely down south, and now I don't have to stress about him being part of the equation. If he was, I would hopefully get him stuck on this rock, and even if I didn't get him stuck there, then I'd just clear him while praying range. It's no big deal. You'll notice I threw a Death Skulls there, just to kind of soften up some enemies. I don't know, I've never done this before with this gear setup, so I'm just kind of winging it as we go to show you that it's really no big deal. My Reaver's getting low on HP again, so I am going to cast another Prism. You do sometimes have to spam click those prisms, so just be mindful of that. I mean, I'm camping 3 Volley of Souls here and 12 Necrosis stacks, which, I mean, as a general rule is not good practice, but I'm just kind of showing you that if you don't want to clear the waves quickly, like, you can literally just stand here, and as long as your conjures are up and you're keeping your Blood Reaver healthy, there's not a whole lot hurting me. Alright, on to the Ranger challenge wave. We have to use a threshold on these Rangers, so I opted for Bloat. Another good option is Finger of Death. Doesn't really matter, but I like Bloat. So first one's dead, bloating the second one. Again, I'm just tanking all this damage. If it starts to look like too much, then I would swap to... I would Devotion, I guess, and keep my Range Prey active. That's the only thing that's attacking me this fight. For some reason, I just used Soul Strike, thinking this was the first challenge wave, and it didn't do anything, so now I've bloated. And again, I'm just basicking. I'm keeping all my stacks for Zuck at this point, which is probably a good idea. I don't know how necessary it is, but it's probably helpful. Looks like my Overload has run out, so I'm going to click on that again. I'm going to Vuln him. I'm going to push the action button, and we're going to get started. So I'm going to do the same thing as last time. I'm going to Death Skulls, Volley, Skeleton Spec, and Finger of Death. And I'll keep my second Finger of Death, and he cleared damn well instantly. I'm going to Death Guard Spec this big guy. I think that'll probably be a good idea. Yeah, it turns out it was a great idea. Okay, I'm going to stand in this southern corner for this challenge wave. I don't think it super matters for these Zucks. Or these Jads, sorry. But this is where I think is my preferred spot. The one up north. Oh, right, this is where they spawn. Okay, sorry, it's been a long time since I've been here. This is perfect. So this southeastern spot means that this Jad won't attack me as long as I don't go too far north, and that Jad is stuck behind everything. So this wave is the start of the predominantly mage-based waves. We'll be praying magic for the next several waves. Not much changes other than that. I'm just killing all of the enemies around the room at this point before I deal with the Jads. That way I don't have to worry about taking extra damage. I don't have to worry about prayer flicking. I don't have to worry about anything. So now that everything is dead, I'm going to go up and deal with my Jad. Again, he stands up. I use Mage Prey. I threw a Death Skulls. I'm keeping all my other stacks, but there's no real reason to, so I guess I'll use a Finger. Again, he stands up, so we use Mage Prey. I'm just using a Finger and a Volley of Souls, and now I'm going to build some stacks back. There's a range attack. You'll get used to it. And just like before, I'm going to use this same safe spot for this entire duration of these waves. All these mage-based waves. Alright, first thing to spawn in is this bat. Now, since this is a mage-based wave, I want to kill anything that's not mage and close to me. There are 2 rangers that fit that criteria. So I'm keeping my Mage Prey on, and I'm just going to clean out these rangers first. Now they're dead. I'm keeping my familiars nice and healthy. I'm going to drop a crystal for my familiar. My conjures and familiar, sorry. Words are hard. Yeah, so again, I have the option here. I can use a Volley of Souls just to clear things out faster and speed it up. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's required. If you're doing this in the tank gear, it's going to be even less challenging because you'll just have a million HP and it won't matter. I just don't own the tank gear, and it does not make a single difference. It's actually harder in this gear, so I feel like this will be sufficient for demonstrating purposes. So again, I've got a ranger that spawned in first, so I did use a Finger of Death there to clear him a little faster. Now all I'm doing is praying mage, and I'm spending what I have to clear things. I do have a challenge wave coming up next, so I'll probably lay off a little bit. I have 1 minute left on my weapon poison, so I'm going to just re-drink that. I'll likely lay off a bit on spending my stacks here just to make sure that I still have them for the challenge wave. And again, look at my HP right now, so things are a little concerning. I could resonance if I wanted, I could use devotion if I wanted, but I've opted to just kind of stand there and let Rebo do it, and I'm still just fine. I'm going to use freedom because I had some bleed stacks on me, and this ranger is going to hit very hard, so I'm going to switch to range prey. Alright, last challenge wave. All I have to do is come stand over here, pray mage, and kill the mages inside the bubbles. So, mage 1 in the bubble, dead. We're going to dive over to the next one. Oh, dive didn't work. I think I might have changed my dive keybind. Oh, it won't let me do it in combat. Okay, we'll just not use dive. That's okay. And maybe that'll be helpful to show in pizza phase if you have a difficult time using mobility stuff, not having it. Again, I'm just praying mage, letting Revo do it. I'm still sitting at 12 necrosis stacks. I've got all 3 of my volley stacks for Zuck, which is great. And I'm going to attack Zuck here. I'm going to use a shard. I'll throw my soul sap on, hit the extra action button, and we're going to go to town. I'm going to volley and finger, but I'm not going to use death skulls this time because of the fact that I'm going to need to barricade. So I killed him with just 2 fingers and a volley. Alright, these guys, all you have to do is you can resonance one of these, you can disruption shield one of these, and then you can barricade. Hey look, we got a necromancy level. That's exciting. Now I'm just attacking them just so like they're not going to take any damage. It's just so I can build up some adrenaline. Alright, next up we have triple Jad. I go back to this south corner for this one. That way only one of the Jads can see me. You'll notice there that he started attacking already. And it's no stress. It's just kind of stand here. You can just worry about your prayer flicks if you want to and do nothing but let Revo do it. You don't have to though, because that would be silly. My overload is running out, so I'm going to just re-up that. Now for this very last Jad, I am going to use nothing but basics, and the reason for that is because I want to build up all of my stacks for Harakan. I do not want to have to deal with 2 cycling him. It just means it's going to take longer. That's annoying. So I have all 3 of my soul stacks, and I'm 10 seconds off of getting my last 4 touch of death stacks, so it's looking like I'm not going to get those, but that's okay too. I actually might be able to just get them on Zuck here really quick. And I'm going to take off my lantern and put it back on so I can conjure fresh conjures. Oh, I've hosed myself here. I had Zuck targeted, so I didn't work well, but that's okay. So all I'm going to do is use my death skulls, move away from these balls that fly from the air, use some fingers, use a volley. We can death guard spec just to make sure he dies. Move away from the balls flying from the air, and I'm going to use my my death mark to make sure that he 100%, no questions asked, is going to die. Alright, so Zuck has all of his stacks, which is great. Maybe I'll throw a vengeance here and drop a crystal. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to throw a Vuln Bomb once he gets closer. And I'm going to pray melee. So all I'm doing here is praying melee, and I'm going to eat what I have to. So the first spec that he does here, he's going to say some sort of voice line. I'm going to ultimate as well. I haven't used my Adren pot, so I'll do that. And just attacking. Using stacks when I have stacks. Eating when I have to eat. He's about to use another one. He says the earthquake, so I'm just going to surge away from that. His next voice line, all I have to do is either resonance or disruption shield. I'm going to opt to disruption shield. So he says die, I'm going to disruption shield. No damage taken. And I'm just attacking. I'm prayer flicking a little bit just because he's hitting me with melee hits, and when he's not, doesn't matter. Alright, he says fall and burn to ash. I'm going to freedom or anticipate. That way I don't get stunned here. Surge back over and deal with the first enemy. So all I'm going to do is soul sap, and basics will probably clear this out, so we'll see if that works. Yep, soul sap and basics. Cool, now I'm going to retarget Zuck. Surge through, attack the next guy. We know that these guys need an ultimate. So, or a threshold. So all I did was bloat him and used basics. Reconjure my skellies again. Last guy, we just gotta stand inside the bubble. No big deal. If you're having a difficult time with these guys, you can vuln, I guess, if you want to. Like, that would help. You can finger, like I just did there. Died instantly. No big deal. So now, before this bar charges up, we have to click this button. So we're just going to click it, and I'm going to just, like, skulls and spend all my stacks that I've been holding on to. I'll redo my familiar just so he doesn't die. He's getting a little low on the HP front there. I'm going to shatter because I put all those nice shards on there. Might as well. Also, you bring food to eat it, so if you're not comfortable with the prayer flicking that we're doing, all you have to do is just spam that blue blubber button. Look at this. Now I'm just going to spam that blue blubber button. And that's all there is to it. Zuck dead. 17 minutes. It's not a fast kill, it's not a pretty kill, but it will get you what you need. I hope that was helpful.